In the early 90s, I am dropping out of college, really discovering New York City nightlife and entering the nocturnal world of writing graffiti. I had to keep self-propelling myself to paint. I felt very invisible as a young person, and the graffiti made me see myself in a different way.
Claw Money is a big influence worldwide, not just in Australia, with her militant post-feminist claw paws that she used to do in the 90s. What we loved about her and why we all looked up to Claw is she was hitting the streets with the boys and wasn't just painting pretty characters and things.
There were not a lot of other women, but there were some. I think back in those days, it was sort of like you were a mascot for your crew, and the other crews would try to sort of pit you against the other women, like, oh, well, this one's painting here, you can paint too. And I felt like I wasn't coming here to compete with women. I was coming here to compete with everybody. I didn't want to just compete with women, and that wasn't my goal. My goal was to be the top dog, no matter what the gender. Graffiti taught me to be like an environmental artist and to really adapt fast to situations that were happening live. I really had to learn how to sort of like put my feelings aside and be able to just react and adapt. And I think graffiti gave me that ability, and then I learned to sort of be able to use that in my work. I often with clients, my vision is different than theirs. I either have to bring them to me or I have to go to them. It's all about adaptation. Spreading the claw out, people would see it and they would not know what it was. They would not understand, but they would say, oh, I've seen that before. And so when I started to propagate these images and this artwork all over town, like showing people that like people are out here like risking their freedom, using their energy to do something that was just for public consumption. And through that, I started to notice people really like reacting to it, and it not being a word and not having to be able to read graffiti. You were able to sort of identify it more easily than other graffiti. And when I realized that, I realized I had a power to sort of start messaging through this medium in a bigger way. Trial and error is sort of the way I have learned what works and what doesn't work, because I have tried lots of things, and when they don't work, you stop seeing them, because I gravitate to the things that speak to people and speak to me. And I feel like my mistakes are really gifts. I have learned so much from my mistakes, from owning them, from being uncomfortable with them and really sort of analyzing them. My mistakes have made me the artist I am, the way I view things, and I'm not afraid to take risks and sort of push the limit, and if it doesn't work, I can pull back. I just feel like as a woman, it is very difficult to make mistakes and have the public forgive you. Whereas, he just made a mistake. As a woman, they'll never let you live it down. So I have to make my mistakes work for me in a way that is very complicated. But believe me, they're the things that keep me up at night But if they can inform me for improvement, it's worth it.
Claw Money's important because she's created a brand from the streets of New York, which has gone on to have a global impact. She goes where she's curious. She's not a one-trick pony. You know, her moniker is not just something that she does on repeat on one application. It's about thinking about how you strategically move your practice and maintain relevance, and how you keep creating trends and you keep your artistic practice moving forward. She's constantly creating, experiment, taking risk in her practice, and has had a career that's still going. You know, it's 35 plus years later, her career is still going. And I think that story is really empowering for any artist.
This is where I'm really trying to like push the claw and to go into different applications and really bring graffiti into like a different light, and maybe speak to people that really graffiti doesn't speak to them. This is a new way of sort of interpreting the same logo, right? You see one claw, you've seen them all. But have you seen a flower-covered and plant-covered claw? Probably not. But this is where I'm getting really exciting, to sort of take stuff that I did on the street and then apply different techniques to it, and sort of take the graffiti in its context and recontextualize it. I'm excited to, yeah.